AITA for pressuring my friend into telling his girlfriend that he cheated. I don't know if what I did was friendship or betrayal dressed up as morality. It all started the night my best friend Mark showed up at my apartment at 1:17 a.m., knocking like someone was chasing him. I opened the door expecting a drunk stranger or maybe a neighbor with an emergency, but instead I found Mark, pale as chalk, gripping his phone so hard the screen looked close to cracking. "Dude," he whispered, stepping inside without waiting. I messed up, like beyond repair messed up. He paced my living room, running his hands through his hair. He wouldn't look at me, just kept muttering. "I didn't mean to. It just happened. You can't tell anyone. Please promise you won't tell anyone." Finally, after a full minute of this, he stopped, inhaled sharply, and blurted, "I cheated on Emily." The name hit the air like a dropped glass. Emily, his girlfriend of 4 years. The girl who practically lived with us during college. The one who always brought us homemade cookies during exam week. The one who trusted him so blindly it almost hurt to look at. At first I thought he was joking. Mark wasn't perfect, but cheating on Emily? "What do you mean you cheated?" I asked. "Like kissed someone? Or..." "It wasn't a kiss." He sank onto my couch, covering his face. "It was at Alan's party. I got drunk. Too drunk. I went upstairs. There was this girl, I don't even know her name. It happened." For a moment, I said nothing. Not because I didn't know what to say, but because my mind immediately pictured Emily laughing. Emily cooking breakfast, Emily bragging about Mark's beautiful soul. And all I could feel was this growing, burning sense that something horribly unfair was taking place. "She deserves to know," I finally said. He flinched like I slapped him. "Don't say that, Mark. You can't hide this." "Why not? It was one time. One stupid mistake. I love her. Telling her will only destroy her. And me. And everything." He leaned forward, eyes wide, desperate. "You're my best friend. Please don't push this. Just let it go." But I couldn't. For the next week, every time Emily texted in our group chat, cheerful and oblivious, I felt a twist in my gut. Mark looked worse each day, dark circles, shaking hands, constant excuses to avoid seeing her. Finally, after watching him ignore her calls for the 5th time in one day, I snapped. "You have to tell her," I said. "You can't keep pretending." "Stop," he muttered. "No. This is eating you alive, and it's wrong. I'm your friend, but I'm not going to help you lie. What do you expect me to do? Break the heart of the girl I want to marry?" "Yes," I said quietly, "if that's what honesty requires." He stared at me for a few seconds, jaw clenched. Then he walked out. For 2 days, he didn't speak to me. I thought he needed space until Emily showed up at my workplace. She looked hollow, red-eyed, shaking. "Why didn't you tell me?" she asked, voice cracking. "You knew, didn't you?" I froze. My throat went dry. "He told you." She nodded. "Last night. He said he confessed because you pressured him into it. Because you said I deserved the truth. He said you wouldn't stop." She wiped her face. "Was it true? Did you force him to tell me?" I tried to explain. Tried to convince her that honesty was better than a relationship built on a lie. But Emily stared at me with this expression I had never seen on her face. As if I wasn't Mark's best friend, but part of the betrayal. "He didn't want to tell me," she whispered. "You pushed him until he broke. Why? Why would you do that? Do you hate him? Or me?" Before I could answer, she left. 2 hours later, Mark texted me. "We're done." She left. "I hope you're happy." Then, "I never should have told you anything." And then nothing. Weeks passed. Emily blocked both of us. Mark avoided me everywhere. Mutual friends were confused, distant, uncomfortable. The fracture kept widening until it felt like both of them had turned into shadows in my life. Now I'm here, months later, wondering if I crossed a line. I wasn't the one who cheated, but I was the one who pushed the truth into the light until it burned everything around it. In the weeks after Emily vanished from both our lives, something in Mark changed. At first, I thought he was just grieving. Losing someone you planned to marry will do that. But soon it became clear that it was something else, something deeper, darker. As if the truth he confessed had hollowed him out from the inside. He quit the gym, stopped going out, called in sick to work so often that HR put him on probation. His apartment, once spotless, turned into a graveyard of takeout boxes and unwashed clothes. And when I really tried to reach out and apologize, he shut the door in my face. "You destroyed everything," he whispered the last time I saw him in person. "You..." Not me. Then he closed the door gently, almost politely. That scared me more than if had slammed it. For a while, I gave him space. I wasn't sure if my presence comforted him or only deepened the wound. But then weird things started happening. 1. The first message one night, around 3 a.m., my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. You don't know the whole story. At first, I thought it was a prank, but then another came. You think you pushed him to be honest, but you don't know what honesty costs. I texted back, "Who is this?" No answer. I told myself it was spam or maybe Mark messing with me, but he barely replied to anyone these days. I tried to ignore it, until the next night. 2. The second message, this time it was a picture. A grainy photo of Emily standing outside her workplace, taken from across the street. She looked stiff, tired, thinner than I remembered. Her face was turned away, but there was no mistaking her. Then a text followed. "You should have stayed out of it. This wasn't normal. This wasn't something Mark would do. And Emily had blocked us both, so who else even knew enough to send this?" I saved the messages, screenshot everything, and told myself I'd contact the police if it happened again. But I didn't. Something about it felt like stepping into a deeper pit if I opened that door. 3. The collapse. 2 weeks later, Mark's sister called me. I knew her from family dinners during college, bright, upbeat, always teasing him. But now her voice was tight, strained. "Have you seen him?" she asked, has not answering anyone. "And his landlord says he hasn't left his apartment in days." A chill crawled up my spine. I took a cab straight to his building. The hallway already smelled wrong, like mold, like spoiled food, like something stagnant. I knocked. No response. "Mark, open up," I called. Nothing. His sister arrived minutes later with a spare key. She hesitated before unlocking the door, as if afraid of what lay on the other side. The apartment was dark. The curtains were shut. The air was suffocating. "Mark," she whispered. We found him sitting on the floor, back against the wall, staring at absolutely nothing. His eyes were bloodshot but dry, like he had run out of tears. There were papers scattered around him, scribbled notes, ripped up letters. Dozens of pages filled with frantic handwriting. He finally looked at me. "You wanted me to tell her," he said. His voice didn't sound like him. It was hollow, tired, and oddly calm. "So I told her everything." "I know," I said gently. "But what's happening now? Why are you living like this? Talk to us." He shook his head slowly. "You think I cheated once?" I froze. His sister whispered, "Mark, what do you mean?" He laughed a dry, broken laugh. "It wasn't once. It wasn't even twice." The room went silent. "I kept everything hidden," he said. "Every mistake, every lie, every night I pretended I was at work. I thought it didn't matter because she'd never know, because I loved her more than the mistakes." He pressed his palms to his face. "But when you forced me to confess, when you pushed me, it all came out. Every detail, every name, every night." His breath trembled. "I didn't just lose her. I lost the version of me she believed in." I swallowed hard. "Mark, why didn't you tell me? You would have judged me," he murmured, "even more than you already did." His sister kneeled in front of him and hugged him tightly. For the first time in weeks, he broke, sobbing quietly into her shoulder. "We cleaned the apartment. We made him eat. We tried to piece him back together. For a moment, it felt like things might actually improve. But then Emily disappeared. A week later, Emily vanished. Her coworkers said she didn't show up for her shift. Her parents reported her missing the next morning. Her phone was off. Her car was still parked outside her apartment, and then the police found something behind her building. Her purse torn open with everything scattered, and inside one of Mark's old hoodies. Not a recent one he hadn't worn in years, but it had his initials stitched inside. The same day the news reported the discovery, I got another anonymous message. "Truth has consequences." My hands shook so badly I dropped my phone. 5. The investigation. I was questioned. Not politely, not gently. Why had I pressured Mark? Did I know about the cheating? Did I know Emily personally? Did I know anyone who might want to hurt her? When they told me about the hoodie, I couldn't breathe. Mark swore he hadn't seen Emily since the night he confessed. His alibi held. Security cameras confirmed he was at home, but the hoodie his sister insisted he gave it away years ago. Maybe donated it. Maybe lost it. Maybe someone stole it during college. It didn't matter. The police were circling him like wolves, and every night I still got messages. "You started this. You pushed him. You ruined him. Now watch what happens next." I changed my number. The messages kept coming. Whoever was sending them knew how to find me. 6. The breaking point. One night, I got a final message. Come to the river if you want the truth. Attached was another image. My own apartment door, taken from less than a meter away. One didn't call the police. I should have, but my mind wasn't working anymore. Fear and guilt had twisted together so tightly that I couldn't tell which one was controlling me. I went to the river. Cold wind, empty streets, the water black and slow, and someone was standing on the dock. Someone I recognized instantly. Emily, alive, staring at me with an expression I couldn't decipher. Fear? Rage? Relief? I stepped forward slowly. Emily, where have you been? Everyone thinks. She raised a hand, silencing me, and then she said something that made the world tilt beneath my feet. If you hadn't forced him to confess, none of this would have happened. I opened my mouth to speak, but the rest of her words didn't come from her. They came from behind me. A voice I knew, a voice I trusted, but one twisted by something feral, obsessive, and hinged. Mar, you wanted the truth so badly, he whispered. Now you'll get all of it. And the last thing I remember was the sound of footsteps behind me on the wooden planks. When I heard the footsteps behind me, I didn't turn immediately. Something primal froze me in place. The instinct that whatever was behind me wasn't just dangerous, it was inevitable. Emily didn't move. She stood on the edge of the dock, her hair whipping in the wind. Eyes locked onto mine with a strange mixture of sorrow and accusation. Mark, I finally said, my voice thin. What are you doing here? His breath was shaky. To close. You ruined everything, he said. Do you still not understand that? I slowly turned around. Mark looked like he hadn't slept in days. His clothes wrinkled, his face gaunt, eyes bloodshot and unfocused, like a man drifting somewhere between reality and the nightmares had created. You pressured me, he said. You pushed me until I confessed things that should have stayed buried. That was your guilt talking, I said carefully. Not me. Mark shook his head violently. No. You need to hear the truth now. He stepped closer. I stepped back instinctively and heard the creak of the wooden planks under my heels. You think I told Emily everything that night, Mark said. But I didn't. I told her the cheating. I told her the lies. But not the worst part. Emily's voice cracked. Mark don't. He ignored her. The girl at the party, he said. The one I cheated with. You remember how I said I didn't know her name? I nodded. I lied, he whispered. I knew exactly who she was. Emily's breath hitched. My pulse kicked into my throat. Who? I asked. And then I saw it. That flicker of something cold and sickening in Mark's eyes. He looked at Emily. You didn't tell him, did you? Her lips trembled. Mark, stop. Tell him, Mark said. Tell him who she was. Emily didn't answer, so Mark did. It was her sister. The wind seemed to stop. Even the river below went silent. My mind reeled. Emily stared at the water, tears running down her face. You cheated on her with her own sister, I whispered, horrified. Mark nodded slowly. And that's not even the worst part. He took a deep breath, the kind you take before detonating a bomb. She wasn't drunk. I wasn't drunk. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't a mistake. We'd been seeing each other for months. Emily sobbed, collapsing to her knees on the dock. I felt the world tilt. Mark, Jesus, why? He smiled a small, broken smile. Because her sister loved me more than Emily ever did. Emily screamed, a raw, animal sound that cut the air open. And when she found out the truth, Mark continued, she threatened to tell Emily everything. My stomach twisted. So, what did you do? Mark took a step toward me, then another. I made sure she couldn't. Emily covered her mouth with both hands. Mark, stop it please, I stared at him, cold terror crawling up my spine. What do you mean made sure? Mark tilted his head, like a child confused why an adult doesn't understand something simple. She went missing, remember. Everyone thought she ran away, but I just cleaned up the mess. I stumbled backward. My heel hit the very edge of the dock. One more step and I would fall. You killed her, I whispered. Mark didn't deny it. Instead, he said, she wouldn't let me have a future with Emily. She ruined everything. And you, he pointed at me with a trembling hand. You forced me to confess. You tore the last piece of my life apart. So now you get to carry the truth too. What truth? I choked out. That the truth destroys everyone who touches it, he said quietly. Then he lunged. Emily screamed my name. I braced for impact. For cold water, for pain, for darkness. But instead there was a thud, a splash, a cry. I opened my eyes. Mark wasn't holding me. He wasn't even on the dock. He was in the water. Emily stood behind him, her hands shaking violently, her face pale with shock. She had pushed him. He surfaced once, gasping, grabbing at the wood, eyes wide with betrayal. Emily, he choked. Help me. She backed away. shaking her head, sobbing. "You killed her," she whispered. "You killed my sister." He slipped under again. This time he didn't resurface. The river swallowed him whole. Only ripples remained. Epilogue: the police ruled it accidental drowning. Emily told them Mark slipped. I said nothing. I don't know if we did the right thing. I don't know if there was a right thing left. Emily moved away 2 months later, changed her number, deleted all social media, disappeared quietly like she had never existed. Sometimes I still get messages from unknown numbers. Not threats, not pictures, just one sentence, always the same. "You should have kept the secret." I don't know